The impact of K-pop in China. Now this is thoughtful. Hello, I'm Kitty Lun in Shanghai. Recently on Thoughtful China, Min Yu, country manager of YouGov in China, interviewed market researcher Laurence Lim-Dally about the Korean pop culture craze in China and how brands are using Korean culture and celebrities in Chinese ad campaigns. This week, Min is back in our studio, this time as a guest, to quantify the influence of K-pop in China and show us the numbers behind the phenomenon. Min, welcome back to the studio. We all know that Korean drama and K-pop are very popular and pervasive in China. And you're back to the studio today to quantify the impact of K-pop on the mainstream Chinese consumers and what it means for advertising agencies and brands in terms of supporting this. So first of all, let us talk about how and why this K-pop is being so influential among Chinese consumers and Asian consumers and now, the Western world and the Western consumers.
Sure. I think it's a very interesting phenomenon, and there is no one root or cause. And what it is really the stars have aligned. There are so many different factors that have fed into this phenomenon. I think it started with the support of the Korean government. So the Korean government actually outlined the entertainment industry as one of the 5 pillars for growth in 1998. So it goes back to actual planning. But then the stars have aligned, as I've mentioned. There was a huge diaspora of Koreans that went abroad and immigrated to different countries. A lot of them went to the US, and obviously a lot of them were in Los Angeles, close to the heart of kind of the global entertainment industry. A lot of those people came back to Korea, and they're the ones who were involved in entertainment, in music, in dance, in television, film. Now, with the support of the Korean government to bolster, create more opportunities, and also to export and promote the industry, that's gone a long way.
But who specifically are K-pop influencing? I mean, do you have a consumer profile of the biggest group of consumers that are being impacted, and how much and why?
Absolutely. So the survey that we ran was actually to an online nationally representative sample, so Tier 1 through Tier 4. And what we see is that there is a wide range of general fans or awareness of Korean culture. And so when we look at who this is, who it's impacting, what we find is that across age groups, there is a high level of awareness, but there definitely is a skew towards a slightly younger audience. So when we look at the teens, the 20s and the 30s, you're seeing very high awareness levels as well as loyalty and impact. As you get into the older demographics, over 45 or over 55, it definitely does wane a bit. Now, when we also look at other demographic profiles or splits, women are definitely much more loyal fans of Korean dramas and pop stars than the men are, but there's still an equal high level of awareness. And again, another interesting stat that we see from the YSL case, we specifically asked, have you bought or tried this YSL lipstick or lip gloss as a result of watching it from this TV show? And what we're seeing is that there is a high number of consumers who have tried or bought, and it's actually equal between men and women. And this is very interesting, again, because changing consumer behavior, men are actually being forced or requested by female colleagues, by their girlfriends, by their wives, to go buy this product as they go abroad.
Now, what is the real impact of K-pop on the culture, and how does it shift consumer behaviors in China? Can you prove it?
Absolutely. There are very quantifiable now results that we're seeing from the influence of K-pop and Korean celebrities. So one great example is KFC. KFC's done a great job leveraging Korean brands and celebrities. Recently they launched a mobile music app and a game with our friends from Mobile Now. And according to Mobile Now, actually in 3 days from launching this app, there have been over 4 years worth of mobile gameplay on this app. So that's quite amazing. So people are really, really engaging with this platform. Now what's interesting is that actually this app has taken off in Japan even, where EXO is also very, very popular. You know, these boy bands have reached beyond just now Korea, extending all across Asia and now globally. When we look at brands like YSL, you know, the famous lip gloss that sold out first again in Korea, then in China, across the region, and then globally, we have reports in the media from the store managers of YSL shops in Frankfurt, in Australia, about Asian consumers actually coming and buying their entire stock. So that is a real game changer. When you're talking about changing consumer behavior, this is absolutely impactful, and brands and companies need to recognize this.
So that's changing the behavior. How about the commercial impact? How about, you know, affecting the bottom line? Has it happened? Can you quantify it?
Absolutely. So again, if I can go back to KFC and this branded app, actually the exposure to the game requires the consumer to purchase. And again, that is driving consumption because people want to engage with this app and engage with their you know, boy bands of choice.
Can you give us some numbers and figures to quantify the impact on the bottom line?
So we have 2 very specific examples where we ask consumers, were they influenced by a specific TV show, My Love from the Star, to actually try or consume a certain product. So in the case of fried chicken, actually what we see in the statistics is a large majority have actually tried or wanted to try because of the TV show. In the case of the YSL lipstick, again, there is a large proportion of the population claiming to have either bought, tried to buy, or wanted to buy specifically because of the TV show.
Let's take a break, then we'll be back to hear more from Min-Yu.
Thoughtful China, as the name suggests, provides very thought-provoking discussions about topics that are relevant and timely with regards to China marketing scene.
Welcome back. We're in the studio with Min-Yu talking about the impact of K-pop in China. This K-pop model, is it sustainable? Now we see the Hong Kong pop culture and J-pop, you know, influencing consumers in China, Asia, and around the world. And it's sort of like it comes and goes, it sort of fades away. So K-pop, it's been in China established, built, you know, in about 15 years already. Have you seen any signs of it being sustainable, or is it going to fade away just like the other popular cultures?
That's a great question, and I think we go back to the roots of why K-pop and Korean pop culture is popular. You know, the government support means a lot, and what that government support means is that obviously it gives the industry the best opportunity or chance for success, and then the continued support also means that there's a continued possibility of success. So unlike Hong Kong or Taiwan or even Japan, that was much more organically grown and driven by the industry itself, the support from the Korean government really allows then the industry to stay on top and stay relevant. Now there have been ups and downs. When we look at the Korean entertainment industry and the revenues generated from export, there have been dips, but it's rising again. And that's through the continued support of the government. You know, the government, the Ministry of Culture, Tourism and Sport actually invests a lot of money behind promotion, behind investment to build the resources and the assets. So they're working with the different organizations and agencies in Korea to build the talent and to make sure that Korea is staying on top in terms of creativity, in terms of production quality, and in terms of relevance to not just the Asian market now, but globally.
Now that's the support, and that's the how you build it. But what are the differences between K-pop and J-pop and Hong Kong pop? I mean, in terms of the pop culture, what's the difference?
Absolutely. So again, we look at how the stars have aligned, and again, it is that diaspora, the hybrid, mixing of Korean and Western influence. So when we look at the early pop stars in Korea, a lot of them actually either grew up or spent time abroad, primarily in places like Los Angeles, where they're influenced by people like Michael Jackson, Justin Timberlake. And so they brought that back. And when you look at the dance style, when you look at the music production, when you look at the music style, you can definitely see that influence. It's timing and critical mass. So there's been a huge, again, in the 70s and 80s diaspora of Koreans going abroad. Then they've been exposed. And that helped expose actually the rest of the world also to Korean culture in little bits. Growing up as a kid in Los Angeles, it was always funny because people would say, "Are you Chinese?" "No, I'm not Chinese." "Oh, you must be Japanese." "No, I'm not Japanese." And the question is, well, where are you from? And when I say Korea, people say, "Oh, is that near China or Japan?" People didn't know about Korea, but now it's very, very difficult to find anybody who isn't aware of Korea and isn't aware of Korean culture, food, Samsung Mobile. There are a lot of different things that have kind of culminated in this phenomenon and contribute to it.
So there's awareness, and it's been developed for 1 or 2 decades, and it's sort of found its ground. Can K-pop measure up to the Western kind of popular culture?
Absolutely. So again, in this survey, we wanted to test really the impact specifically of Korean pop culture and quantify it. And when we look at the awareness levels and popularity of Korean dramas versus some of these more popular or globally popular American TV shows, what we're seeing is that actually the Korean shows are over-indexing relative to the American TV shows. And that's a really impactful insight there. There's a lot of money put behind the American entertainment industry. There's obviously a lot of money put behind the Korean entertainment industry, but it's of a different scale. But the impact here in Asia is actually almost reversed. The Koreans definitely have more influence than the Americans.
Okay, you've established that K-pop has influence and it affects the a shift in the popular culture. How does it do with the brands? I mean, what can advertisers or brands leverage on this? I mean, who are doing a good job? Who are doing a bad job?
Absolutely. So when we look at the consumer brands that have been doing a good job, Coca-Cola has done an excellent job. KFC has done an excellent job. And again, YSL with this lip gloss, the funny thing is it's not actually a YSL lip gloss. The makeup artist for the TV show and for Tae-hyun actually did admit that it's a combination of lip glosses because the color can't be established from one. But the fact that somebody mistakenly quoted or recognized YSL as the lip gloss, then on social media made it go viral, and again, changed the way consumers are actually behaving and actually triggered consumers to go and buy out or sell out this product across the globe. So when we look at the industries that do a good job, obviously some of the youth-focused brands are doing a good job, but there are lots of industries that really aren't taking advantage of this. When we look at skincare and cosmetics, there are some brands that have done a good job, but it's been primarily Korean brands, and the international brands have only just started to really scratch the surface, and there's definitely a lot more opportunity for global brands to leverage this Korean phenomenon.
But you were just talking about Korean brands. So if all the global brands are leveraging on K-pop, will it be, everything look very similar, using Korean celebrities and using the pop culture of Korea?
Absolutely. So, particularly here in China, this is kind of the norm, right? When a celebrity is popular, every brand jumps on the bandwagon. When we look at some of these Chinese celebrities and now some of these Korean celebrities, it really is hard to almost recall which brands or which types of products a certain celebrity is endorsing. So I think it really goes back to understanding the consumer. Just because somebody is popular just because they're famous doesn't necessarily mean that they're popular or necessarily relevant to a given consumer set. So really understanding what is relevant, which attributes from which celebrities match which brands is going to be increasingly important so that you don't just get lost in the mix.
So what will be your advice in terms of, telling agencies and brands, how to take advantage of this opportunity of the uprising of the K-pop influence in Asia and in China?
I think that this is kind of a universal truth, not just specific only to K-pop, but obviously K-pop is very relevant at the time being. Brands and agencies need to do a better job at really understanding, again, the consumer mindset and what triggers that behavior. And so understanding the consumer is really the fundamental kind of foundation of being able to then leverage celebrities and other brands to promote your brand or product or service. When we look at what a lot of brands are doing, they're simply paying somebody famous to stick their name on a product, and that doesn't necessarily resonate. When we look again at some of these Korean dramas and the impact it's had, there are a lot of ways to soft sell brands and products and services and make it believable, not just, again, an endorsement from a celebrity sticking their name on a product and service.
That's very good advice. Thank you very much, Min, for coming to our studio.
Thank you.
That wraps it up for today. Be sure to subscribe to us on Youku, Tudou, and YouTube. You can also follow us on Weibo, WeChat, and Twitter, and join our LinkedIn group. See you soon.